I am Family Values Tour. I'm God. When I was a boy, when I was a little boy, um, there was a DVD I used to have, and it was called Family Values Tour 98, as in 1998. And it featured Limp Bizkit, Korn, Rammstein, Orgy, Ice Cube. Okay, so it's a very interesting DVD. Yeah, so Limp Bizkit, they did a cover of George Michael's song, which is called Faith. So maybe you heard me say it before. I said, I'm God. I'm God. And so I've had a very strange life. When I grew up as a kid, my mum was lesbian. And so I was because she was always listening to George Michael. And because she was listening to it, I was listening to it, right? I mean, if you listen to something, well, that's the thing. Like if I was in the car with my mom, she would be one person and I'd be the other person. So that's two people listening to the music of George Michael. Okay, so listen to music, yeah. There were two of us, and Anyways, my mom used to drive me to school because I started going to boarding school in September 2001. Yeah, I've talked about that one many times. Um, yeah. My mom had a car. She had an MG. Have you ever heard of the brand, the car, the British car manufacturer? Well, they were British. They were bought by the Chinese. Okay, so it was a manufacturer called MG. Okay, MG. Okay, so MG. Why is that significant? Well, strangely enough, if you have a look at the film, which I've also posted, okay, so there was a film that came out in 2001 called The Hole. And obviously, the word hole, see, demons like to confuse that word with holy. Okay? So, and that film was about the school I went to. Okay? I went to Charterhouse. And the story was actually written by a pupil who went to Charterhouse. Okay? He wrote the book. And it was turned into a film that was released in 2001, which was the year I went to that school, Charterhouse, in September 2001. When 9/11 happened, yeah, the plane crashes, all that shit, yeah. And I was a Limp Bizkit fan, my mom would drive me to school in her MG, listening to George Michael. You notice how George Michael's initials are GM. And so if you flip those in reverse, you get MG. And the other thing is that George Michael, he was born, I think it was the 25th of June. Okay, that was his birthday. And in tarot, it's a magical divination deck of cards. Okay, so Cancerian, Cancer, the zodiac sign, is associated with the Chariot. Okay, the Chariot. So a car is, in magic, it's the Chariot. Okay, and it also has to do with the bed, because people can't tell the difference between a chariot, a car, and a fucking bed. Yeah, and obviously some people like to get effed in reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, cars go in reverse as well. You got the reverse gear. Yeah, so you get in the car, you fucking go in reverse, and then you go forward. Yeah. And people do that in bed as well. They like to do the stuff at the front. They like to do stuff in reverse. in the butt or whatever, right? So, in the hole, yeah, that hole at the back. Um, yeah, it's sex magic, is what it is, okay? And obviously, my mom was a lesbian, and she wanted me to be gay. You see, she always wanted me to be gay. So I was a fan of Limp Bizkit, and I got the DVD set, the DVD of Family Values Tour '98. Now, if you watch that, I mean, it's just full of crazy stuff. I mean, okay, so there's the band Orgy. So he's like the front man. He's an androgynous guy. I don't know if he's gay, but obviously the band he's in is called Orgy. Yeah, I mean, and they call it Family Values Tour, right? What kind of value, what kind of what is that supposed to be? And obviously, it all has, the thing is, Limp Bizkit is kind of like, well, it makes, well, limp dick, it's a way of saying limp dick, isn't it? And corn, well, that's the thing, I mean, that saying, you are what you eat. Well, technically, I've eaten sweet corn, I've eaten corn. So does that make me corn? Yeah, I guess it does. Because I'm God, I'm the Word. That's the thing, that's how demons try to steal power from me, through stupid shit like that. But the fact is that corn, it's kind of the opposite of Limp Bizkit, because I mean, actually, strangely enough, Limp Bizkit have an album called Golden Cobra. And you know what a snake is, right? A man might call his penis, might call it a snake, right? A lot of guys do, right? And if it's golden, well, it's a certain color, yeah? It's the same color. I mean, if you look at a corn on the cob, what the fuck does that look like? Yeah? So, it's actually, it's a sodomy thing, because obviously, if you stick it in that hole, well, if you stick it in a butthole, well, it might come out looking like that. A bit golden, a bit yellowish. Yeah? That's the idea behind it. That's the sex magic thing as well. And obviously, Orgy and Rammstein. Yeah, because, a ram, well, what's a ram? That's the thing. The lamb, the sheep, the ram, right? And obviously the ewe. Yeah, you know what a ewe is, a female sheep. And there's the ram, there's the horns come out of his head, right? But then to ram something, even you ram something in a hole, well, there you go. That's a different meaning, isn't it? Lots of people do ramming all the fucking time, right? They might ram their car into something, or they might ram a stick up a hole or something, or whatever it is, right? Yeah. Okay, so, where am I going with this? So the Family Values Tour, Limp Bizkit do their cover of George Michael's song Faith, and that's the thing. Now that I look at it again, all it does is reflect my childhood. You see, there's a Family Values Tour. There's all these bands, they've all grouped together to do their stuff. I mean, Rammstein, when Rammstein do their set, Till Lindemann, the front man, he takes like the keyboard guy, he's got him on a dog leash, right? And he pulls down the back part of it. There's a flap on the back of his shorts, and he pulls that up like a fake penis, and it's squirting a white liquid out of it, and he's just spraying it all over the stage, all over the place, right? Obviously, it's supposed to be a sex magic ritual stage performance, okay? That sort of, it demonstrates the idea of sodomy, sex between two men on a stage in front of a whole crowd of people at a concert. That's called the Family Values Tour, okay? And most of it was shot in New Orleans. And the strange thing about that is, back then I used to have family that lived in New Orleans. You see, all my most of them, right? They live in this country. They live in England and Scotland, in the United Kingdom. But when I was 5 years old, I actually went to New Orleans, and I actually met some distant family members over there. Okay, so my mum, her auntie went to the United States of America and married a man called Michael. And she had a son with him called Christopher. Okay, so Christopher was my mom's cousin. And I met him when I was 5 years old in New Orleans. And he would have been about 15 or 16 at the time that I met him. What happened was, probably about a year after I met him, he got shot in the neck and he was paralyzed for about, and he died on his 30th birthday on Christmas Day, which is fascinating, isn't it? He was actually born on Christmas Day and he died on Christmas Day. And his name was Christopher. A very interesting name, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah. And, I mean, that's the other thing. George Michael, he died on Christmas Day as well, in 2016. Yeah. How bizarre, huh? But the thing is that, and what's really interesting, my mom had an MG car, and she used to drive around in it, and she had a major drug problem. When she was, back then, she always had drug problems, but back then it was particularly bad, right? And a few years after, when I was probably about 18, 19 years old, she crashed that car on the motorway. And I would tell you that she probably was on drugs when she crashed her car. But she got away with it, basically. She just got away with it. Yeah, I mean, obviously no one recognized that she was high off her nut on drugs, and they basically just let her go. And that the car was a write-off, and then the insurance company bought, she had so many years of unclaimed, so many years of unclaimed, so many years of not claiming that she managed to get another car. But anyways, yeah, but the thing about the MG is that, I would be in the car, my mum would be driving it, we'd be listening to George Michael, we'd both be listening, so listening to the number 2, yeah? 2 people listening to George Michael, yeah, in a car that's MG, and a car that goes in reverse, it goes in forwards, it goes this and that, it's all crazy fucking magic. And if you look at the film The Hole, yeah, there's a woman, she drives a blue MG at the school I went to, and the year I fucking went to it, 2001. Yeah, the same fucking year. And Limp Bizkit, yeah, I remember, they were the last people, right, to film a music video on top of the World Trade Center, okay? In fact, the World Trade Center sent them a letter on September 10th, the day before September 11th, when it fucking happened. See, Limp Bizkit, they won the award for best music video, like for rock or something, at the MTV VMAs. And the World Trade Center, they actually sent a letter to Limp Bizkit congratulating them. Yeah, saying congratulations on your award at the MTV VMAs. And then the next day, they got hit by airplanes. And they took the towers came down. And that was the first week of me being at boarding school. At Charter House. Yeah, you know what a charter flight is? You know what it means to board a fucking flight? You know what boarding pass is? Yeah, to get on your fucking airplane, your chartered flight. Yeah. So, this is the thing. I grew up with a mom who valued, sex, homosexuality. She was all about that. I mean, she was a lesbian, right? And she was all about, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You see, the world's totally changed. Since I was a little boy, the LGBT thing is, completely changed from what it was, right? I grew up, when I was a little boy and I went to school, all the kids would run around going, Gaylord, 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 Gaylord. Yeah, I'm Lord, I'm God. Yeah? So all the kids would be running around going, Gaylord, 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 Gaylord. So, that's the thing. I was and I had a mom who was gay. And my mom was like, yeah, don't tell your friends at school about it. Because they'd make fun of me. If I went around saying, hey, yeah, my mom's gay. And they'd be like, hey, your mom's gay. Gaylord, 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 Gaylord. So I didn't tell anybody. So I had to keep, I zipped my mouth shut about that one until after I left my boarding school. Then I told people I went to school with. I was like, yeah. I admitted it to them. I was like, yeah, my mum is actually a lesbian. And the whole world has changed since then. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I grew up. When I went to boarding school, I was living in Brighton, which is it's the gay capital. They call it the gay capital of the United Kingdom, right? For a long time, that's where I mean, obviously there are gay people all over the country now, but decades and decades ago, well, sort of Brighton was considered a sort of a haven for gay people because that's where they all congregated. I mean, a lot of gay people would be like, well, where's the best place to live if you're gay? When they would go to Brighton because they felt more welcome there, right? And that's yeah, you get it. And that's the reason why my mum moved there. She moved from London because she had been working in London, and then she wanted to be somewhere that was more LGBT friendly. So she went with her girlfriend, bought a house in Brighton, and at that time that's when I started going to boarding school. So I was going between boarding school and Brighton, back and forth, right? In a blue MG, listening to George Michael. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. In the book of, in the scriptures, it talks about Archangel Michael, right? Well, this is the thing, right? I mean, if you listen to any of George Michael's songs, he's talking about angels and faith and sex and shagging and whatever, right? But that's the thing, like when people have sex, when someone's doing sodomy, right, butt sex, anal sex, well, arching the back is quite the thing. So Archangel Michael, right? So it's a magic thing. Anyway, yikes. And that's the thing, right? I mean, you can see there was a picture of me when I was 16 years old where I'm dressed in drag, right? And what's the English flag, right? So it's St. George. This is where I live. I live in St. George's in West-super-Mare, right? St. George's. This is where I fucking live. Yeah? And what's the story? St. George, he slays the dragon. Yeah? The drag on. Well, I've never seen George Michael dressed in drag. I mean, but there's a picture of me dressed in drag. Yeah. So... And why did I do that? Well, because it was my mum's birthday, and I was asked to, and it's not because I really wanted to. It was because, I didn't really care. I was just like, whatever. But anyways, this is such a. Where do I even begin with this? Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is the thing. That's the thing. Looking at the Family Values Tour DVD, obviously I'm God. What are my values? I'm God. Right, I was Jesus Christ. I was crucified 2,000 years ago. Are you saying that my values are homosexuality and sodomy and all of that? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? This is what it is. It's the evil demons of the world and my mum, right? So my dead mum, called Fiona. Well, that was her thing, right? That was her thing. So they were picking up on her energy, trying to say that it was mine, right? Trying to pretend that God is now homosexual or basically just wants to have orgies and do sodomy and all that kind of stuff. That's these are our family values now. Faith, you gotta have faith, y'all. You're a counterfeit. Faith. I mean, do you know how screwed up this is? This is so screwed up. It is. But this is the thing, I mean, in the scriptures, it says that they will be sent a strong delusion, right? The people on the inhabitants of earth will be sent a strong delusion. You see, I grew up, right, surrounded by demons, And the world's like, oh, so that demon's his mum, so let's follow her instead. Or that demon's his biological dad, so let's follow him because he's a piece of garbage and we can be like him and pretend that he's God instead of God. Right? That's what the world does to me. It tries to trap me. You know, I've got a mum that wanted me to be gay. You know, I've got, and to give me all kinds of drugs and all kinds of shit, trying to destroy me in every fucking way imaginable, right? Trying to make me homeless, just trying to, destroy any confidence I ever had. I suffered from so much anxiety when I was a kid. Is it any wonder that I like Limp Bizkit? Do you think? I mean, that's the thing. Limp Bizkit, Fred, the lyrics and the anger that was in that music it's basically my voice. Is what it is. It's my anger. It's my rage. And the crazy thing is about it, right, is that when I went to boarding school, everyone used to make fun of me for liking Limp Bizkit. And then after that, the album that came out after the Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water was the album called Results May Vary. And that sounded, it was a very, listening to it, you could tell that obviously Fred Durst was taking it very personally, that, everyone was insulting him and basically saying like he's shit, and everyone hated Limp Bizkit and everyone hated Fred Durst, right? But basically that hatred that he was getting is really, it's me. I'm God. You see, that hatred that everyone had for Limp Bizkit was really their hatred for me, really. Because that's what it was. I mean, that's the thing. The world hates me. I mean, that's the thing. The world mimics me. So, someone like Fred Durst, he likes to think that he is me. And so my thoughts and my feelings come out of his mouth, right? That's basically what happens. It's very complicated for me to explain all this. It really is. But so the interesting thing is that so my mum, she crashed that MG. It was a write-off when she crashed it. You know the story about and that's the thing. She had her best friend back then was a guy called Mark. He was only a few years older than me, right? He was probably about 4 or 5 years older than me. And his name was Mark, and he was a hairdresser, a hairstylist, and he used to cut my hair and he used to cut my mom's hair, and she used to do drugs with him. Okay, and he and that's the thing. George Michael, his last boyfriend, was actually a hairdresser as well, right? And his name was Fadi or Fadi. I mean, this is the thing, right? You know the word father, right? The word father. You can split that into two words. So it says fat her, or you could say fa there, right? And then obviously that guy's name was Fadi, and Fa was Fadi Fawaz, or whatever his fucking stupid name was, right? Yeah, so I mean, that's the other thing as well, right? There's that song by, what's her name, Geri Halliwell. Well, she's Geri Horner now, because she married that Formula One guy, the team boss of Red Bull. Yeah, Red Bull. And he's called Christian Horner, right? So she's Geri Horner, and she made a song about George Michael, and the song's called Angels in Chains. I think that's what it's called, right? Look, Geri Horner, Angels in Chains, where she basically sings a song saying, "We're all angels in chains," and she's singing about George Michael. Yeah? But the thing is that I'm the one who's been. See, the world is trying to do that to me. The world wants me to be in chains. Yeah? And then this bitch is going to say, we're all angels in chains, George Michael. I'm not George Michael. You'd love to think that I am, right? And you'd like to think that my mom was God, or my dad was God. Yeah, and anyone else that you fucking choose to believe is God. I'm God. I'm the one who's at the center of all these frauds. And they're all denying me, all rejecting me. Wow. Anyway. Oh, and what was that film that Jerry Horner was in? What was that film she was in recently? What was that called? What was that called again? What was it called again? It was called Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo. Yeah? What's my name? Grant. That's right. And you know how the word, Formula One, it's abbreviated to F1. Yeah? My mom, her name was Fee. Yeah? I mean, that's the thing, right? You see the album cover for Limp Bizkit's album, Significant Other. Well, I'm God, I am significant, right? I mean, you look at the artwork, it's graffiti. It's like taking Gran and Fee, and then you smush them together and you get graffiti. It's art, yeah? And you see there's this guy holding a microphone. His face is totally blacked out, so you can't see his face, and he's got a red cap on his head. Yeah? And it says significant other. Well, that's the thing. I'm God. Yeah? I mean, this is the thing, right? The world wants to feast, so this bitch, Jerry Halliwell, right? She's got her song, Angels in Chains. Yeah, why did she make a song about that? Because she's a vampire, right? She wants me to be in chains, and she wants to be, we're all angels in chains, we're all Grant now, we're all God, we're all Grant now. So the world, that's what it wants to do to me. It wants to keep me bound, tied, chained, so I can't do anything. While everyone pretends to be me, pretends that my life is theirs. And all the demons participate in saying, oh yes, you are God, aren't you? You must, this is the thing. People want to steal what is my life, pretend that they're me, and then they want to steal that light for themselves, and they use it to get fame and fortune and status and popularity and money and sex, while I get denied by everybody. You might think that's fucking great. Yeah, oh God, he's in chains, he's bound. Who gives a shit anyway? We don't like God anyway. Fuck him, right? That's what you probably think. But then, well, look at what happened on 9/11. Look what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. Yeah? Ukraine. You know what it means to reign? A king reigns. Yeah, UK, that's where I fucking live. Yeah? What's happening with China, the global economy, all this stuff, when there's nothing left. You see, this is the thing, right? It has to get really bad before anyone will, you know what I mean? Like, if half the world's population died, let's say in the next 5 years, for instance, how many people would change their mind about me, God? How many people would start to actually really take a look at what the fuck is happening? Take a look around. Is Limp Bizkit fucking up your town? Yeah, that's me. Mission Impossible 2. When's the second coming? I don't know. Must be impossible or something, huh? So, yeah. What else can I say about this? I mean, that's the thing. The demons, they all want, they wanted to corrupt me, destroy me, make me be something that I'm not. And that's the thing. I'll be honest with you, right? I have actually been in situations with gay men. Yeah, and it usually involved a lot of alcohol and drugs. Yeah, because when I was young, I had severe depression, I had severe drug problems, alcohol problems, and I got taken advantage of a few times. Yeah. Yeah. Some might call that RAPE. Yeah, it's not rap music. And when I told my mom about it, she didn't fucking care. I think I saw her smile, actually. Yeah, so that's how I began to realize just what an evil bitch my mom was. See, when I was a kid, I always used to sort of look up to her. I always used to think to her, she's really intelligent. She makes a lot of money working for investment banks and stuff, right? She used to work for a bank called West LB. Yeah, not Limp Bizkit, but and she used to work for Natixis and Mitsubishi Securities and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I when I was a kid, I didn't have a dad around, right? So she was the one I looked up to, and she was a very strict mum. She was a very strict, she was very, well, that's the thing, I wouldn't say she was strict, but that's the thing, she was very manipulative and controlling and very angry, a very angry butch lesbian. And I can tell you that most people were terrified of her. Okay, most people would not want to have an argument with her. If she had an argument with someone, usually the other person would run the other way. That's the kind of mom I had when I was a kid. And obviously, I had to get to the point where I had to realize what an evil bitch she was, and to be stronger than her. Basically to say, like, no, bitch, I ain't listening to you anymore. Yeah, I think you're an evil bitch, and I fucking hate you, and I hope you fucking die. And that's what happened. She's dead now. Yeah, that's what happened. But I see a world that still wants to believe that she's God. That's what I see. Or they want to believe that my deadbeat dad, who lives in Aberdeen in the Highlands, yeah, up in Scotland, yeah, they want to think that he's God. It could never be me, could it? No, it would never be me. No. Couldn't possibly be me. No. It is me. And the fact is that the world's getting destroyed. So, yeah, I win. You lose. You either submit to me, or you don't. Okay. I saw an article today about Christians being arrested, sent to prison for 2 years. Right? I mean, there's a story about someone who people aren't allowed to street preach anymore. Yeah, in certain, like in Leicester, for instance, think that was the example. I didn't listen to it that close, but I listened to it a bit. So yeah, what a surprise, huh? What a surprise. I mean, that's the reason I don't go out. I could go out into the street and tell people I'm God, but what's the point? I kind of think that doing it on the internet is the best way because, it's a recorded video. You can watch it, right? And more people can see it. And it's easier for me. And the fact is that I couldn't explain to you how I'm God in 5 minutes. I mean, that's the thing. I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? It's not an easy thing. You'd have to really listen to what I say. You'd have to listen to. You would need to listen to me for a while to really get what I'm talking about. If you really want to know who I am, well, you can find out. You have to watch my videos. That's the only way. I try to give as many examples as I can. Anyways, I mean, this is the thing, right? If I listen to a band, if I listen to somebody, if I listen to some music, demons want to think that I'm the music, I'm the musician, right? So I'm listening, like when I was a kid, I listened to George Michael. And then, people want to pretend that, oh, he must be George Michael then. Yeah? Because that's how demons work. I mean, the other thing is, if you see that video with George Michael, so that's the thing. When I was born in 1987, so this is the other thing, Family Values Tour. Okay, so Limp Bizkit does the cover of Faith by George Michael, and that single, it came out. In fact, the album came out 1987. It was the week. I think it was very close to the time I was born. In fact, if I look at the #1 album of the week I was born, November 14th, 1987, I'm pretty sure that George Michael his album was at #1. His album was at #1 the day I was born. I mean, this is the thing, right? Because I come into this world, and all the demons they're trying to change who I am. They're trying to make me gay. They tried to do that to me, and I guess, this is the thing. I've lived for 37 years in this body, and I won't lie. It's had some effects on me, right? It has changed me a little bit, perhaps, or it's what happened. It's what's happened to me. Okay. Basically, I'm a straight guy who's done some butt stuff. Okay. But I'm attracted to women. I always have been. It's just that well, I've explained as much as I can, okay? Yikes. I don't enjoy having to tell these details. I really don't. But I have to. Because I have to. I can't lie about who I am or what I do, really. I mean, I've got to tell you the truth. Because I'm the truth. I'm God. It's my weapon. That is my power. Truth. So yeah, I mean, if you watch that film, The Hole, Well, what's that film? So the film is it's kids at a boarding school, boys and girls, and instead of going home at the weekend or for half term or whatever it is, they find a hole in the woods. They find a bunker in the woods, and they go down there. Okay, and they go down there to party and drink and smoke and have sex. There's a guy called Michael. And then there's another guy and the two girls. There's the actress Thora Birch and the actress Keira Knightley. Right, and so they all pretty much all of them die, except the girl who's played by Thora Birch. Okay, I mean this is the thing, right? Because you know who the name Kira is associated with. If you've seen the anime series, the anime series Death Note, right? So there's L, who's the detective, and there's Light Yagami, who's Kira. He's the guy who can kill anyone in the world that he wants to kill. He basically just writes down their name and they die. Yeah? Well, that's basically who I am. I'm God. I'm Kira. Yeah? And that's the other thing, I made a video saying how I am anima sola. So in Roman Catholicism, they have this belief thing. It's a woman is a depiction of a woman in purgatory. She's in chains and she's in fire. Okay? And so that's essentially what the world's doing to me. So when I told you about the video by Jerry Halliwell or Jerry Horner, which is Angels in Chains, yeah? So that's basically me. And now I'm telling you about anime, right? If you say anima, which is spelled A-N-I-M-A, right? How do you say A? You say A. So you say anime. Anime, yeah? So what is anime all about? Well, it's all about me. That's what it is. See, I'm connected with everything. Everything. Because I'm God. I'm the creator of all things. Yeah, so I'm connected with everything. Like how I said, it said that I am the Word. Yeah, I'm the art. I'm the music. I'm the movies. I'm the television. I'm the fucking news. All day long. Everyone wants my light. That's the thing. Everything is trying to be me. That's the reason. That's the why everything reflects me. And always will. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I have a gay butthole, basically. I have a bisexual butthole. I have a torn butthole. You've heard of the Torah or Toro. Yeah, Toro means bull. Oh, Taurus. Yeah, the book of Revelation, it talks about the throne of God. Yeah, it's Revelation chapter 4. Yeah, it talks about how there's a rainbow that encircles the throne of God. Yeah, that is the description of my bisexual butthole. My throne is where I sit. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Will you be convinced? Do I care? Do I care? Do I care? Am I a fucking car to you? No. You wish I was a car. Christmas card. Christmas card. You want a Christmas card? Or a tarot card? Yeah, a tarot card. Witchcraft, magic. I mean, the easiest example I can give you of the world everyone wants to try to be me, well, look at the zodiac wheel. Astrology. What's that all about? What's that all about? That's all it is. It's people trying to steal my power. That's all it is. Trying to divide up who I am and split it into little pizza slices and hand it out to everybody. And then giving me the shitty end of the stick and trying to keep me in chains and bound while you all fucking pretend that you're me. Adam and Eve. What happened to them? What happened to them? Well, that's what's going to happen to you if you keep doing this to me. Yeah? It's going to be worse. Nothing's changed. Nothing. Still the same story. I mean, this is the thing. I went to boarding school, and the very year and the month that I go there, so September 2001. September 2001. You know what happened September 2001, don't you? Not to mention, only a few weeks before that, Aaliyah Dana Houghton, the singer, she died in a plane crash when she was 22 years old in the Bahamas. I've spoken, she was Mary. She was the Virgin Mary. She's an evil bitch. Of course, you know, Roman Catholics, they love to worship her, of course. Oh yeah, don't forget about that. You know, the Catholic Church, you know, the one that's got all the, you know, the dodgy priests, you know, the ones that will the child sexual predators. Yeah, you know that those guys. Yeah. The Catholic Church. Yeah. Mary's Church. Because that's what she likes. Yeah, she likes abusing children. Yeah. But that's what the world wants. That's what demons want, you see. So, the movie that came out in 2001. Oh, that's fascinating, actually, isn't it? Because the character who's played, so Thora Birch plays a character called Liz, Liz, right? And this is the thing, you know, Aaliyah Dana Houghton. Well, Lee is Li is a reference to her. Lee, yeah, Aaliyah, Lee. And obviously she was Mary, Marie, as in really, really, yes, really, yes. So what month did this film come out then, I wonder? I don't know. Does April 2001. April 20th, 2001. What's the date today? Oh, it's the 19th of April today. So almost 24 years. Exactly. Yeah. See, the idea of the film, the whole, is that, you know, these kids, they go down to the bunker to have sex and party and do drugs, and they die down there. And Liz is the one who survives. She has the key to get out, but she wants to keep them down there so she can get with the guy that she wants to be with. She wants to be with, I think, the guy who's Michael. And let me just check that. Yeah, she wants to get with Mike. And she had the key to get out the whole time, but she was trying to create a terrible situation so she could get closer to Michael, because she was deranged, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So It's a serious problem. I'm God, and the world is trying to keep me bound and in chains all the time. I mean, think. The other thing is, you think, Christians, people who call themselves Christians, right? Well, people were told, pick up your cross daily, and people have turned that into wearing a chain around their neck with a crucifix on it, and then they say that Jesus Christ is the crucifix. So essentially, they're wearing Jesus. What they're basically saying is they've got Jesus Christ on a chain, around their neck. Yeah, that's basically. I mean, not everyone will say that Jesus Christ is the crucifix, but a lot of people suggest that, and there are people who do say that. Because that was the path of Jesus Christ. It led to the crucifix, right? So there's obviously there's a very strong connection between Jesus Christ and the crucifix. Yeah. But the world, that's the thing. The world wants to keep me bound, and it uses all kinds of magic to do that. And unless you listen to me and stop your nonsense, well, you won't have anything left, right? Everything is gonna be destroyed. Death, disease, poverty, war, all that. So, I'm tired of making these videos. Are you gonna do anything about it? Are you going to try to make a difference? Anything? Because I don't see anybody doing anything. I don't know anyone who's doing anything. What's really interesting, I saw John Piper. He put out a video. It was a few days ago. And it was titled "The Cost of Being a Christian Loner." See, all that is that demons having a dig at me. That's all it is. They're basically trying to say that I'm a Christian. I'm not it wasn't that I was Jesus Christ. It's not that I'm God. Oh, I'm just a Christian and I'm a loner. That's basically what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that I'm a Christian loner. I'm God. There's a big fucking difference. You understand? This is why I hate John Piper. And that's why he's going to burn in the lake of fire. Because he's a cunt. That's what he is, a cunt. A piece of shit cunt. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen to him. He's a forked tongue piece of shit. I mean, what does that even mean, forked tongue? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's... Well, if you use a fork and you stick it in your fucking mouth, right? Does that mean you have a forked tongue, does it? Well, you know what I mean? When I say that John Piper has a forked tongue, what it means is that he's trying to appear like he's a good person, right? But actually, he's using doublespeak. I hear the demon in him. I hear it. I see it. But the demons will be like, yeah, but I've got a forked tongue because I ate with a fucking fork. Yeah? See, there's the difference. See, demons use that as a way to attack me. To basically say that I'm, it's like if I go to my bed and I lie down, they'll say I'm a liar. Or if I'm sat on my arse, they'll say I'm Satan. You know what I mean? That's the trickery they use. And that's the trickery you fall for. Yeah, you're deluded. And this is why the world has to be destroyed. That's why a lot of people are going to die. Whether it's earthquakes or tsunamis or disease or war or any of that stuff, yeah, that's exactly why it has to happen. Because you're no good. You're nothing. You're worse than trash. That's what you are. You're worse. You're lower than trash. Yeah, I think I'm just thinking. If I had a pet dog, the dogs are I like dogs. They're loyal. They can be very loyal, friendly, good company. And I know the dog's not going to talk shit about me behind my back. Yeah? See, the difference is that I gave man and woman the ability to speak, to use words. What a disaster. But anyway, at the end of the day, I don't lose. Jesus Christ does not lose. And the other thing I forgot to mention was, well, family values tour, right? Well, you know what a value is, right? See, this is the thing, what do you value? Well, a value can be a number, can't it? What's the value of, yeah. See, you want to confuse a number with what's important. You see? See, demons don't want to, you have the same word, that's the thing. You use a word and you have completely different meanings, and then you try to swap out the meanings for what you want it to be. Cherry pick the bits that fit your narrative. I hate God because he's a liar. He lied down in his bed, yeah, or whatever it is. He ate with a fork. There, he's got a forked tongue. He's a devil. He's just a snake with a forked tongue. Yeah. But that's the thing, right? Because George Michael, Faith, 1987. Yeah, 1987. That's when I was born. Yeah, a month after the Great Storm of 1987. I was watching a video about George Michael and the last boyfriend he had, so Fadi Fawaz, and how he was left out of his will. Or he left his willy out, or whatever. What's the difference? What's the difference between Will and Willie? Do you know? Do you have any idea? You think you know, don't you? But you see, when demons talk to you, you don't hear a difference. You hear it the other way around. That's the problem. You listen to demons.